Schizophrenia. Okay, let's be honest, that's a word that probably brings some pretty intense images to mind, right? A lot of that is thanks to movies and just a ton of misinformation out there. But what is it really? Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to spend the next few minutes together digging into this really complex condition and separating the scary myths from the actual medical facts.
All right, let's just jump right into the biggest one, shall we? You've got this myth that's just everywhere, that schizophrenia is some kind of violent personality flaw. But the reality? It's a treatable medical condition. Yeah, you heard that right, a medical condition. You know, if you start thinking about it more like diabetes or heart disease, it completely changes the game. It really does.
Okay, so if we're saying it's a medical condition, what exactly is it? Let's get a really clear definition so we're all on the same page.
So, at its core, schizophrenia is a serious mental health disorder that really messes with how a person thinks, how they feel, and even how they experience reality itself. It's not as common as something like anxiety or depression, and it often shows up during a really crucial time in life. We're talking late teens, early 20s. Imagine that.
And that brings us to a really important word you'll hear a lot, psychosis. Now, this isn't the crazy, over-the-top drama you see in movies. It's more like the brain's filter, the one that tells you what's real and what's not, just starts to go haywire. Can you imagine not being able to trust what you see or hear? That's what a psychotic episode can feel like.
And look, this is a point we absolutely have to hammer home. That stereotype about violence, it's not just wrong, it is actively harmful. The truth, the actual truth, is that people with schizophrenia are way, way more likely to be victims of violence than to cause it. They're often in a really vulnerable spot, and what they need from us is understanding, plain and simple, not fear.
So what does this actually look like day to day? To make sense of it all, experts have kind of grouped the symptoms into three main buckets. Let's take a look.
Okay, let's break this down, because the names can be a little tricky. Positive symptoms, that doesn't mean they're good. It means things are added to someone's experience. Think hallucinations, like hearing voices, or delusions, these really strong beliefs that just aren't based in reality. Then you have negative symptoms, which means things are taken away. So maybe a loss of motivation or seeming really flat and not showing much emotion. And finally, there are the cognitive symptoms. This is all about changes in thinking, having a hard time focusing or remembering things.
And this is so important to remember. Schizophrenia is not a monolith. It's not one size fits all. Every single person's journey with it is unique. One person might really struggle with motivation, while for someone else, the biggest challenge is their thoughts feeling all jumbled up. And it's not static either. These things can change and shift over a person's life.
So the big question, right? Where does this even come from? Well, there's no single aha moment. It's way more like putting together a super complex puzzle with lots of different pieces.
Yeah, there's no one thing you can point to. It's a whole cocktail of factors. Genetics definitely plays a role. It can run in families. Then there's brain chemistry. You'll hear a lot about a neurotransmitter called dopamine being involved. And on top of all that, life experiences matter too. Things like major stress or even complications during pregnancy or birth can add to the risk.
Okay, I want everyone to hear this loud and clear. Schizophrenia is not caused by bad parenting. It is not a personal weakness or a character flaw. And it is absolutely not something anyone chooses. Period. It's a medical condition. And the second we can all let go of the blame game, we can start building a world that's actually supportive.
All right, now for what is maybe the most important part of this whole conversation, the path forward. Because here's the good news. With the right support, living a full, meaningful life with schizophrenia isn't just some far-off possibility. It is an absolute reality for so many people.
Now, it's true. Schizophrenia is typically a lifelong condition. But here's the key word, manageable. It is absolutely manageable. This is a journey, for sure, but it's one that can be navigated really successfully. With good treatment and a solid support system, people don't just manage, they thrive. They chase their dreams, they build careers, they have families, they build a life they love.
So what does that management look like? Well, it's usually a team effort, kind of a three-part toolkit. First up, medication. Antipsychotics can be incredibly helpful for managing some of the tougher symptoms. Second, you've got therapy and counseling. This is huge for building coping skills and just understanding what's going on. And third, and this is crucial, social support. Things like support groups and community services. You can't do it alone.
And here's a really critical piece of advice. Treatment is a long-term thing. It's so important to stick with it, even when you're feeling better. It's just like any other chronic condition, right? You wouldn't stop taking insulin just because your blood sugar is stable for a week. It really is a marathon, not a sprint, and that consistency is what leads to long-term stability.
Okay, so let's bring this home to you. What can you do? Whether it's for a friend, a family member, or maybe just someone in your community, there are real, concrete ways to be a supportive ally.
Here's a quick and dirty guide to being an awesome support system. First, just be patient and understanding. That alone is huge. Second, and this is a big one, try to avoid arguing with delusions. I know it's hard, but your goal isn't to win a debate about what's real. It's to show you care. Acknowledge their feelings without agreeing with the delusion itself. Third, gently encourage them to stick with their treatment. Fourth, do what you can to help reduce stress in their environment. And finally, just stay connected. Seriously, a simple text that says, "Hey, thinking of you," can be an absolute lifeline.
So, at the end of the day, what's the big takeaway here? Understanding. It's the first step, it's the most important step. Schizophrenia isn't some scary movie monster, it's a medical condition that deserves the same compassion we'd give to any other illness. When we choose to see the person first, not the diagnosis, we become part of the solution. So really, the question isn't if you can make a difference, the question is, how will you?